You know what the biggest lie of the century is? High school is going to be the best 4 years of your life. Well, seeing as though I am not one of the select few who have peaked in high school, nor do I plan to be, high school for me has pretty much just been stress piled on top of more stress. I used to think that the only decent part of high school was the occasional parties. Well, that is until I got myself caught up in a very complex lie that inevitably fell apart. You see, last year on New Year's Eve, I decided that I wanted to go all out and have a typical high school experience. So I got together a group of friends, and we decided to go to my friend of a friend's party that was about 40 minutes away from my house. Knowing my parents would freak if I told them where I was going or what I was doing, I simply told them that I was going to have a sleepover with a couple of girls in my grade. They were totally fine with that, and even let me take the car out for the night. I picked up my 4 other friends, and we drove to the party. It was all going fine until around 11 p.m. when my mom texted me realizing she forgot her laptop in the car and wanted to know if she could drive over and pick it up. Not knowing I would be initiating myself into a string of lies, I told her we had decided to go get some ice cream and we'd be home later. My mom, being my mom, asked me where I was, and I told her that we went to the Baskin-Robbins about 10 minutes away from the girl's house we were at. What I didn't know was that that location was actually closed, and my mom knew that fully because she and my sister had tried going there not 20 minutes earlier. The next morning when I got home, my mom asked me where I actually was. I told her once again Baskin-Robbins. She then told me that she knew it was closed and that I couldn't have been there. So I tried covering it up and saying a bunch of other random places, but I got nervous and I had no idea what to actually say. Eventually I cracked and I told my mom exactly where I was. Cue 2 weeks of chores and extreme grounding. You know what would have been useful? Knowing how to lie. But to master how you lie, one must learn the different kinds of lies there are, how to spot someone trying to lie to you, and how to get away with your own lie. According to author and philosopher Cicely Bloke, to be considered a lie, a statement must communicate some sort of untruth. The speaking must be intending to mislead, and the liar must believe what they're saying is false. Lying is defined as something marked by or containing untrue statements, but lying itself can be broken up into 3 main subcategories. According to Dr. Adrian Furman, the 3 types of lies are white lies, lies of omission, and trickster's lies. These vary respectively in degrees of deception. According to psychiatrist Dr. David Strecker, at the bottom of this hierarchy are little white lies. White lies are considered trivial or harmless and are described as one told to avoid someone's feeling getting hurt. For example, the simple, "No, those jeans definitely don't make you look fat," and similar day-to-day lies that fall under the umbrella of white lies. These are not the destructive or damaging sort of myth truths, but if used inadequately and too frequently, they can develop into a worse type of lie. Speaking of which, this leads us to our next type, lies of omission. Defined as exaggerative lying that omits, in the case of business by psychologist Jim Swila, lies of omission are more purposeful, and the person telling the lie is well aware of what they're leaving out, such as telling your boss you really can't come into work today, but not letting him know that it's because you were headed to a concert. Liars use this type to take out meaningful bits of information in a story or on a subject matter to twist the original meaning of something. These lies could be as serious as omitting something in a police report. The third and most severe type of lie is known as trickster's lie, and it's exactly what its name is. These lies are deliberate and barefaced, and they aren't told to prevent others from being hurt, but to prevent personally from being caught. It's a self-serving behavior, and it's about denying things that happened. These lies are frequently morally and legally indefensible. These liars can choose not to lie, but it's a deliberate action without any good justification. If you want to be able to hold your own when it comes to lying, you need to be able to spot someone who's trying to lie to you. In doing this, you will notice physical cues that will help you stop a liar, as well as give you an insight on what not to do. Dr. Gregory L. Jantz says the easiest way to spot a liar is their body language. People who are not telling the truth will frequently contort their bodies in ways that make them come across as smaller, such as hunching or keeping their face down. Liars also frequently show their nerves by squirming too much and overly touching their face and their body. Harvard professor and psychologist Amy Cuddy teaches her students another dead giveaway that people don't notice as easily is their eye contact. Although cliche, eyes are the window to the soul, brings some truth in detecting deception. Although it is a common belief, avoiding eye contact is not actually the best way to seek out a liar. The best signs to pay attention to for someone's eyes is their pupils or their blinking. Liars' pupils tend to dilate as well as they experience an increase in their blinking rate. According to the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit founder, Joe Navarro, another good thing to watch out for is over-fidgeting. Liars tend to subconsciously move around to try and relieve the stress they feel building up inside, and do so by moving around. Common gestures are rubbing their hands together, fidgeting with a bracelet or necklace, or bouncing on their heels. The last way to really catch a liar is in their story, in their words. Key phrases that liars will include are expressions of truth, such as, honestly, or I swear to God. According to author Pamela Meyer, who wrote the novel Lie Spotting, Proven Techniques to Detect Deception, while these are common day-to-day expressions, liars will frequently overuse them and try to create innocence. People who are telling the truth and know it have no reason to overuse these phrases. Now that you have the knowledge to detect when someone is trying to lie to you, it's finally time to learn how to get away with it yourself. Former CIA officer Michael Floyd emphasizes the number one thing to know is your own story you're trying to spin. If you can't keep your own fake facts straight, no one is going to believe you. If you're trying to convince someone of a story, you need to practice it in your head and fully understand it first. The best way to convince someone of a story or a lie is to be willing to go all the way with your lie, and to show no remorse or guilt for not telling the truth. Another necessary skill is to be aware of the giveaways previously mentioned. Pay attention to your own body language and make sure not to touch your face or fidget with your clothing or hair. Moving around too much distracts listeners and causes them to be more suspicious. To be truly successful, psychologist Jeff Wise claims that it's important for a liar to understand their target. Being able to establish empathy with whoever they are attempting to fool can go a long way. Understanding your target allows you to have more of an idea of what to say to get them to trust you in your lie. Gaining their trust allows suspicion to alleviate from the person being lied to. Once a connection is established, the lie can continue and be just another story. Now that seeing it's been about 6 or 7 minutes since I began speaking, let's see if you can put your newfound skills to use. Had you been aware of how to spot a lie at the beginning of my piece, you would have noticed my entire introduction and reason for wanting to write this oratory was completely made up. There was not a bit of truth to it. First of all, I don't even have a license, so I in fact cannot take my parents' car out for a wild night. And second, I did nothing on New Year's Eve other than come home from work and then go home and binge Netflix for 5 hours. But getting back to the main point, the story itself was made up. Had you known that fidgeting was a dead giveaway, you would have noticed how much I moved when I was talking about how I got to borrow the car for the night. Had you known that rapid blinking was a cause for being suspicious, you would have seen my increased blinking when I was talking about where I was spending the night. Finally, had you known that the use of expressions such as, I swear to God, was an indicator of lying, you could have picked it out when I mentioned about where I went for ice cream. Clearly, lying has its pros and cons, but my life would have been much easier if I'd known how to lie. I mean, who knows? This entire piece could have been made up.